Howdy. So looking back, I pretty much tried all the jobs that I ever dreamed about as a kid. I didn't become a railroad engineer, but I did work on railroad as a porter for almost 3 years. I didn't become a pilot, but I served as a paratrooper, and I had either 13 or 12 jumps with a parachute. And I did become a driver, right, as you may well know, and spent 17 years behind the wheel. And when I was a kid, other jobs I thought about were, of course, an astronaut, crane operator, and I was always attracted to heavy machinery and equipment. That's why now I bought that. Hold on, these kids again outside. They're very loud. Just one sec. Let me close the window. And part of the appeal of heavy hauling, like a big part of the appeal for me was to be able to operate, excavators, dozers, wheel loaders, pipe layers, a couple of times even cranes, I think. What else? Recycle machines, those machines that can grab material, and rock trucks, all kinds of trucks like rock trucks, and even probably the most difficult to load or deal with as a driver was those articulating mine loader trucks where the operator sits sideways like this, and there's just joysticks here, and the visibility is extremely poor. And because of the safety measures required during mine operations, like if you take your foot off the throttle for, I don't know, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, when you want to try to see where the heck you're going, the machine shuts down. So it was so frustrating when I was loading one of these at the Baltimore port. But anyway, I always wanted to learn how to operate these machines properly, not just drive on and off the trailer, even though that, first it was pretty difficult, right? Like when you never operated these before, and you go to the trade unionized Baltimore port, and they say, yeah, okay, what are you picking up here? Cat 575, 100 tons. No, that thing does not exist probably. The most typical was 330. A couple of times I did the 345 class, but I would say 330, 320, somewhere like around 70, 80,000 pounds. But they don't tell you anything, right? They just say, okay, L1. So your machine is parked in spot L1. So then you spend the next 2 hours cruising around the port trying to find that L1. Nobody knows where it is. There's no markings on the pavement. Only during last couple of years when I was still trucking, they added clear visible markings, Otherwise they say, yeah, L1, where the heck is a row L? Nothing. Okay, then you find row L, now you have to figure out from which side it starts, closer to the water or closer to the building. It was always quite an adventure. And then if you don't finish loading before 11:30, these hardworking individuals would shut down for lunch from 11:30 to 1:30. And back in the day, you had to drive over to the building where they gave you the paperwork, and they check the serial number, stuff like that. But then later, they really made it easier for truckers, because then the guy in a car would just come out, when they see that you already loaded the machine on the trailer, even though when it's not secured, they come over, they check the VIN number, give you the paperwork, sign. That's it. So you no longer have to go to the main office. So even if it's lunch, you can still leave. It was such a big relief, because before that it was you waste 2 hours because of their super long lunch break, and there's nothing you can do. But anyway, so yeah, and I think out of all the machines I ever drove, all this heavy equipment, the most fun I had was with, I still remember, they sent me to pick up, I think it was two brand new cat dozers, like brand new. I don't remember the year, it was like 2020, 2021, something like that. And they're pretty short, and they're such sweet machines, right? And it's all joysticks, So I just did a couple of circles around the port just to familiarize myself with the controls. And then you load them, easy to secure. There's rings everywhere, those tie down thingies. But anyway, so I was thinking, I'm still thinking of getting some kind of a part-time job, right? Until my freight brokerage takes off. And actually yesterday I was busy doing some photography, because I keep looking for some part-time photography jobs, and there's one company that hires people to do pictures of cars. Let's say they call you or email you and they say, okay, today you're going to, let's say, I don't know, a Ford dealer, Chrysler dealer, and a Toyota dealer, and you show up there, you tell them who you represent. They give you a bunch of keys, so you have to find those cars, bring them into a nice open spot, and take the required pictures. Like they're saying, it's 20-30 pictures a car. And then and they said, yeah, treat this as a part-time job, like basically a few days a week. So that would be perfect. And so I passed the first stage, the first selection, where they just look at your experience, and you have to show them your portfolio, right? And then the second stage was, I think there was some kind of a questionnaire. Yeah, when they ask you questions. And then the third one, which I was busy with yesterday, they send you sample pictures. I think it was a Cadillac, like a Cadillac car, and they send me 20 pictures. And my assignment was to take my own car, find a good spot, and just duplicate the same 20 pictures. And they said we'd be looking at the composition, lighting, focus, like how sharp it is, and the focal length. And so I did that. I did like 20-30 pictures. So I still have to upload them to my computer, select the best ones, because I took a whole bunch of my Jeep. And the only downside is that they require 24 to 70 millimeter lens, which I don't have. So I use my prime 26 millimeter and 50. And yeah, 24 would be slightly advantageous because it's a bit wider. And a couple of shots there you have to take, like, from inside, from the back seat, like the steering wheel and stuff like that. So that would be cool. But what also would be cool is that, and I think it would really, help to bring my channel back to life, the YouTube channel, is introduce some heavy equipment, right? And so I've been looking at some schools in the area that have heavy equipment training courses. And I found one, and the campus is like an hour away, but they have accommodation there. Of course, you have to pay for it. But I was wondering if someone has experience with this. I would love to hear some thoughts and comments on what course is the best, because of course everybody's looking for experienced operators. I've been checking job boards online, and it's like 5 years, 3 years, 1 year. I didn't see a single one where it says no experience required. But what these guys do, they promise that you will get a job. Like, they don't guarantee it, but they say many of their graduates, especially those who took longer programs, they found employment, And so I was wondering what would be the best. So again, my interest is, I don't think excavator is such a great job, even though I love these machines. I totally love them. But you pretty much sit in the same place, right? You're digging a hole, a truck comes over, you load the truck, you're back to digging the hole, and you're like in the same spot. I think I would go crazy, after a couple of days. Then of course we have a rock truck. articulated truck. And that one is, it's like a bus, right? So you go to the same excavator, and the guy's already falling asleep over there. So you're there, he loads you when he wakes up, and then you go to the dumping site, probably a kilometer away. Then you come back and you do this whole day, right? Because, so basically these guys, they have a 12-week program where you spend 285 hours operating the actual machines and 170 hours in the classroom. And they train you to operate 6 pieces of equipment: an excavator, a wheel loader, a dozer, a grader, an articulated dump truck, off highway, and a backhoe. So 6 machines, 12 weeks. That's probably the most expensive course. Then the next one is the same 6 pieces, same excavator, dozer, loader, backhoe, rock truck, grader, but this one is 10 weeks and you're losing 50 hours. So the machine hours are 235 and classroom hours are 145, right? And then of course you have slight cheaper programs, like they don't give you the pricing. So I filled out the inquiry, so they said somebody will call me probably tomorrow, like one of their student advisors. And so the next one, so first is 12 weeks, 6 machines, then 10 weeks, 6 machines, and then the next one is 8 weeks, 4 machines. So you spend 190 hours operating machinery and 115 hours in the classroom, but you only learn how to operate an excavator, a loader, a dozer, and a grader, right? And then still cheaper and shorter is a 6-week course focusing on only 3 machines: excavator, loader, and ART, articulated rock truck. So 145 hours behind the wheel, 90 hours in the classroom, right? And then after this, so those are like kind of like combination classes, right? And then after this, you have a 5-week program just for the excavator, and you have 3-week program just for the ART, articulated rock truck, and then 3 weeks for a dozer, 3 weeks for a grader, 3 weeks for a loader, and 3 weeks for a rubber tire backhoe. Okay? And so basically, if I had a potential employer, right, that would say, hey, all you need is just 3 weeks, you wanna run a dozer, just all we need is that certification, all these safety courses they require. But I don't think that's enough. So if anybody doing this for a living, please leave a comment, because I don't think without experience you can get a job with only 3 weeks, let's say, in a dozer, right? Whereas I think probably the best bang for the buck is that probably super expensive 12 weeks where you learn 6 machines, or maybe 10 weeks for the 6 machines. I don't know. But what's cool is that the articulated rock truck, you don't need a highway license, right? Because it's all construction, off-road. All you need is a class 5 here in Alberta, just to drive to the site in your personal car, and then when you get in, it's considered a piece of machinery. It's not a highway truck. You don't need class 1 or AZ license, So I could do that. That would be cool. And then of course, if I get into one of these, I could definitely, I see myself doing some some YouTubing, like put a camera in my head and show you guys like a day in life of a dozer operator or something like that. But again, I would be interested in doing this like part-time, just for fun, and put some food on the table, right? But I think it would be cool. So if somebody has any comments or ideas about this, like which program would give me a better chance of finding employment, and I don't expect the age to be a factor, because they were talking. I was listening to the audio message from one of their student advisors, and they were saying that they had one guy like 65 years old, and he took this either 12 weeks or 10-week program, and he found employment as a grader operator for like $35 an hour, So, and especially I think since I have trucking experience and I did operate these machines, I think I should get some kind of a consideration. You know, I'm not a total newbie, right? At least I know how to drive them in a straight line. Like, I don't know how to dig a hole in the ground with the excavator, but I know how to drive it, you know, how to walk it. So I think that should be worth something, right? So anyway, that's my thoughts for today. So I'm expecting to get a call from the one of these student advisors tomorrow, and I'm gonna ask him the same question, like, you know, which program will give me a better chance to find a job, you know, and especially in this area. I don't want to drive 2 hours somewhere, right? But I know some of these jobs, you know, you go and you live in a camp somewhere, and it's like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, right? So then you can leave and go home for 2 weeks if it's not too far, right? But still, I think it would be interesting to do as, you know, something on the side, because like I said, I always wanted to try this, and that's one of the jobs that I never did, even though it was one of my dreams when I was a kid, you know. Thanks for watching.